There are people who will go to shocking lengths to control others, but few are foolish enough to crawl into a basement full of skunks during mating season like my neighbor, Loretta Simmons. To this day, I can still hear her panicked screams echoing through my head. Actually, they happened just yesterday. My name is Noah Bennett, and 6 months ago I moved into Cedar Ridge, a picturesque suburban neighborhood known for its manicured lawns and rigid homeowners association. The plan was simple: live close to nature, work remotely as a freelance wildlife photographer, and avoid the kind of drama that often plagues suburban life. What I didn't anticipate was that the biggest predator I'd encounter wouldn't be roaming the forests, it would be living next door, wearing pearls and a power suit. Loretta Simmons was the HOA president and a former real estate manager with a reputation for running Cedar Ridge like her personal kingdom. From the moment I arrived, she made it clear that anything outside her vision of suburban perfection was a violation. The first words she said to me, clipboard in hand, were, "Your front lawn is approximately 1 inch over the allowed height. You'll find the violation notice in your mailbox." It was my second day. Still, I stayed polite. I smiled. I trimmed the grass. What changed everything was the skunks. It was early April, right after a heavy rain. I found a small family of skunks huddled beneath my back deck, 1 adult female and 2 juveniles. The mother, whom I later named Dandelion, was limping, and the younger skunks looked weak. As someone licensed for wildlife rehabilitation, I knew I couldn't leave them there. So I moved them into my basement, which I'd already converted into a proper animal care space. Good ventilation, temperature control, and all the required permits were in place. I called my friend Dr. Evelyn Martinez, a wildlife biologist at the local university, to help evaluate their condition. We cleaned the mother's wound and started the juveniles on a specialized diet. The plan was simple: give them time to heal, keep them safe through mating season, and release them back into the wild. But the smell, oh, the smell. Even with high-grade ventilation systems and filters, nothing can fully contain the musk of skunks in mating season. The faint odor started drifting upstairs and worse into the yard. Loretta, always patrolling with her measuring tape and phone camera, picked up on it immediately. One morning, while Evelyn was checking the skunk's progress, we spotted Loretta crouched behind my hydrangeas, snapping photos through my basement window. When she noticed me watching, she didn't even flinch, just marched back across the lawn, dress billowing like a cape. By the next afternoon, a notice was taped to my front door: unauthorized harboring of wild animals. Immediate removal required. HOA Code 7.14a. It didn't matter that I was fully licensed. Loretta wanted me gone, and she wasn't about to let facts get in the way. The next HOA meeting was a disaster. Loretta stood at the front of the community center, projecting blurry photos of my basement onto the screen. "Do you know what happens when skunks escape? Rabies, odor contamination, plummeting property values," she cried. When it was my turn to speak, I calmly presented my permits and explained the rehabilitation process. Evelyn backed me up, outlining the state laws that protected my work. Loretta's lip curled as I spoke. "We can't allow this," she hissed. "Not in Cedar Ridge." The board, clearly uncomfortable, tabled the issue for 2 weeks. But Loretta wasn't finished. Over the next several days, violation notices flooded my mailbox: unapproved bird feeder, grass clippings on sidewalk, decorative rocks not conforming to HOA standards, even excessive wildlife activity at backyard feeder. I'm still not sure how one quantifies excessive bird visits. Neighbors began whispering. Some avoided me, but others, like Mr. Singh 2 houses down, started sharing their own horror stories. "She fined me for a non-compliant garden hose color," he confided one evening while walking his dog. It was clear Loretta had a history of weaponizing HOA rules against anyone who dared challenge her. Still, I played by the rules, determined not to give her ammunition. Evelyn and I doubled down on our care routine for the skunks. Their health improved rapidly, too rapidly for Loretta's liking. Then came the break-in. I'd been invited to speak at the university about urban wildlife coexistence. Evelyn agreed to check on the skunks while I was gone. But that evening, while monitoring my home security feed from the campus, I caught footage of Loretta creeping through my backyard with a flashlight and a pair of bolt cutters. Her lackey, Greg Miles, the HOA vice president, and Loretta's ever-faithful sidekick stood nervously at the edge of my property, glancing around. Loretta worked the lock on my basement door for several minutes before finally prying it open. She slipped inside, phone camera ready, determined to capture whatever evidence she needed to force me out. What she didn't anticipate was the skunk's reaction. The moment the basement door creaked open, the startled Skunks did what skunks do best. Dandelion, defending her young, gave no warning. She let loose a direct spray that hit Loretta square in the chest. 2 juveniles followed suit, misting the air with a fog so potent that it immediately overwhelmed the room. The security footage captured every agonizing second. Loretta froze, then staggered back, clutching her blouse, screaming so loud the audio clipped on my laptop speakers. Her phone dropped to the floor, skittering across the concrete. She banged on the locked door, shrieking for Greg to help, but he was already retreating up the street. When the police arrived, courtesy of a call from Evelyn, they found Loretta curled in the corner of the basement, retching and sobbing, reeking of skunk musk from head to toe. Officer Paul Simmons, who'd known Loretta since high school, had to wear a respirator just to approach her. "Ms. Simmons," he said, trying not to gag, "you're under arrest for criminal trespassing." The fallout was immediate. Loretta was charged not just with trespassing, but also with attempted evidence tampering and harassment. The footage of her basement adventure hit local news and spread fast across social media. Memes followed when HOA President's Attack became the trending hashtag of the week. But the best part? Even after she made bail, Loretta couldn't attend HOA meetings in person. The smell lingered for weeks, so strong that she had to zoom into meetings from her car, windows down, face red with humiliation. The scandal didn't end there. Several neighbors, emboldened by Loretta's public downfall, started sharing their own stories. With encouragement from Mr. Singh and a few other residents, I helped organize a petition calling for a full audit of HOA practices. We uncovered years of selective enforcement, intimidation tactics, and even shady backdoor deals with local developers. Loretta was forced to resign. Greg vanished from the neighborhood not long after. Mrs. Patel, a longtime resident known for her community gardening efforts, was elected as the new HOA president. Under her leadership, the HOA bylaws were rewritten, eliminating many of the restrictive, outdated rules Loretta had used as weapons. As for me, the skunks fully recovered and were released back into the wild. But every so often, I see one of them near the edge of my property, tail raised slightly in what I like to think is a friendly salute. And Loretta? Last I heard, she sold her house at a loss and moved 3 counties over. Some say she still hasn't quite gotten rid of the smell.